is absolutely critical. We continue to shine this light on what the CCP is doing to continue to undermine and aggressively and systematically undermine our economic success here in the United States, using our U.S. investments, as we've already discussed, to fund companies that aid the PLA and assist in those egregious human rights abuses that I think we all need to be more cognizant of as consumers as well. I think our small businesses also, working families should be able to trust that their investments are not being funneled to these malign practices in China. And while they continue, the PRC and CCP continue to kind of worm their way into a lot of international trade agreements, they're not following the rules. They're simultaneously sidelining deals and promises that they've made. That really undermines, obviously, our agricultural and manufacturing success and stability here in the United States. Whether it's digging in a cornfield in the state of Iowa to try to get those seeds out and reverse engineer them and steal that IP. They're trying to harvest Americans' information, personal and financial data. They're undermining our tech sector's ability to innovate. It could not be clearer to me how blatant the attack, really, the PRC has unleashed on our country to try to destroy our financial security here in the United States and undermine our critical industries. So I have a couple questions. I'm going to direct them to both of you, so feel free to give your perspective. But what would you say is the most concerning avenue that you've seen the Chinese use to really exploit our U.S. capital markets and companies?
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Look, I will go back to the things that I say are fundamental. Transparency and accountability. Mm-hmm. To the extent that you flout transparency and accountability, that undermines our capital markets and allows you not to make good investment choices. And stability, global financial stability. It's essential to investment flows and trade. To the extent that the Chinese Communist Party would take actions that would jeopardize global financial stability, that is something of great concern.
But do you think, obviously it's a signal when they stop reporting information because it's so bad, correct? I mean, that's a signal to investors, hey, you probably need to pull back here because we're not getting that transparent and reliable data from the Chinese.
Look, information is the lifeblood of markets. Transparent information is the lifeblood of markets, and I think that you are seeing, I would say, the investment community writ large respond to a view that the information they're getting is not as reliable as it maybe has been in the past, or not as reliable as it was expected to be. So that's for sure.
Yeah. Ms. Stevenson-Yang?
Yeah, I would agree with all of those comments. I mean, I think, you know, in China, the idea of a U.S. IPO has been, you struck gold. You know, you won your lottery ticket. You managed to collect a whole lot of money. And whatever means you use to get to market have been sanctioned within China. And there's no regulator within China who watches out for that sort of activity. So what we need is clearer analysis and more critical analysis of companies that are trying to IPO in the United States, and stronger standards about forcing them to delist if they have misrepresented their data.
Turning that around a little bit on the companies that are trying to do business in China, obviously they're trying to work within the regulatory framework, but we've seen some of these kind of frequent offenders in China kind of pushing the envelope with American companies trying to do business there. What do you think we can be doing to support these companies and industries as they continue to make those investments but face those uphill challenges from the PRC?
I'm not sure that there's a ton that we can do except through the WTO. There are a number of WTO agreements that China has not abided by over these 20 years. So I think maybe we go to that forum and push a little bit harder. But in the end, China has this magic wand, which is the approval rights over companies. So even though they've agreed to allow U.S. foreign participation in banking and telecom, for example, if they don't approve the companies, then you can't participate.
Right. Well, it's certainly a red flag for American investors when their capital and their risk that they're taking could be immediately upended by the whims of the Chinese Communist Party. Thank you. I yield back.